The Galactic Council chamber was the largest room in the known universe. It floated in space, a massive station where every intelligent species sent their representatives. Today, over 300 alien diplomats sat in their assigned seats, watching the giant screen at the center of the room. The screen showed the face of High Commander Thesok. He was of Rekari, a species known throughout the galaxy for their cruelty. His skin was covered in dark green scales. His yellow eyes had no warmth in them. When he smiled, he showed rows of sharp teeth. "Greetings to the Galactic Council," Thesok said. His voice was calm, almost friendly. "I bring news from the Kepler system. My forces have taken control of the human colony there. We now hold 12,000 human civilians as our guests." A wave of whispers spread through the chamber. This was not unusual. The Rekari had done this many times before. They would take hostages, demand payment, and release them after getting what they wanted. It was ugly, but it was how things worked in the galaxy. "Our demands are simple," Thesok continued. "The humans will pay us 500 million galactic credits. They will also give us the mining rights to 3 asteroid fields in the Proxima sector. If they agree, we will release all hostages unharmed." He paused, and his smile grew wider. "If they refuse, we will begin executions. 100 humans will die every hour until they change their minds. You have 48 hours to decide." The screen went dark. Every eye in the chamber turned to the human delegation. Ambassador Park Minho stood at their podium. He was a tall man, with gray hair and a calm face. He had served humanity in the Galactic Council for 15 years. In all that time, no one had ever seen him lose his temper. The Trilaxian moderator spoke first. She was a being made of living crystal, and her body glowed with nervous blue light. "Ambassador Park, the Council recognizes the gravity of this situation. We recommend immediate negotiations with the Rekari Dominion. What terms will humanity offer?" Park Minho did not answer right away. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of diplomats from dozens of worlds. Some looked at him with pity, others with curiosity. A few seemed almost bored. They had seen this drama play out before. Everyone knew how it ended. The victim species would negotiate, pay most of what was demanded, and get their people back. Life would continue. "Ambassador Park?" the moderator prompted. Minho finally spoke. His voice was quiet but clear. "Humanity offers no terms." Silence fell over the chamber. The Trilaxian moderator flickered with confusion. "I apologize, Ambassador. Perhaps there was a translation error. Could you repeat your response?" 2. "There was no error," Minho said. "Humanity will not negotiate. We will not pay ransom. We will not give up mining rights. We will offer the Rekari nothing." The chamber exploded with noise. Aliens shouted in 100 different languages. Some called the humans insane. Others demanded to know if this was some kind of trick. The Rekari ambassador, who had been watching from his seat with a smug expression, suddenly looked uncertain. The screen flickered back to life. Commander Thesok's face appeared again, and this time his smile was gone. "Ambassador Park," he said slowly, "I do not think you understand your situation. I hold 12,000 of your people. Men, women, and children. If you do not negotiate, they will die. All of them." Unquote. Minho looked directly at the screen. "I understand perfectly, Commander. You have made your position clear. Now, let me make ours clear." He stepped forward, and something changed in his eyes. The calm diplomat was still there, but beneath it was something harder. Something that had been forged by centuries of human history. "Humanity does not negotiate with those who take innocent lives," Minho said. "We learned this lesson long ago, on our home world. When you pay kidnappers, you create more kidnappers. When you give in to terrorists, you create more terrorists." The cycle only ends when you refuse to play their game. Rend, you would let your own people die for a principle? Thesok's voice was filled with disbelief. We would do everything in our power to save them. But we will not reward you for taking them. Not one credit. Not one concession. Nothing. Thesok leaned closer to the camera. Then their blood is on your hands, Ambassador. Then. No, Commander. Minho's voice did not waver. Their blood is on yours. You took them. You threatened them. You are the one holding the weapon, and you have made a terrible mistake. What mistake? You assumed we would react like everyone else. You assumed we would be afraid. Minho shook his head slowly. We are not afraid. Commander, we are angry. And you have no idea what humanity does when we are angry. The screen went dark again. Around the chamber, aliens stared at the human delegation with new expressions. Fear, wonder, confusion. No species had ever refused to negotiate for hostages. It simply was not done. The cost was too high. The risk was too great. But the humans stood firm at their podium, their faces showing no doubt. The Morvathi ambassador, a creature with many tentacles, called out from his seat. Ambassador Park, surely you cannot mean this. Think of the children on that colony. Think of the families. You cannot sacrifice them for pride. Minho turned to face him. This is not about pride. This is about protection. If we pay today, what stops the Vrekari from taking another colony next month? What stops every other predator species from seeing humans as easy targets? We will not buy temporary safety with the lives of future victims. But what can you possibly do? The Vrekari fleet controls that system. Any attack would result in the hostages being killed. A small smile appeared on Minho's face. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something others did not. The Vrekari believe they hold all the cards. He said. They are wrong. In approximately 6 hours, they will discover exactly how wrong they are. He gathered his papers and stepped down from the podium. This council session is over for humanity. We have work to do. The human delegation walked out of the chamber, leaving 300 alien diplomats in shocked silence behind them. The news spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Within hours, every inhabited world knew what had happened at the Galactic Council. The humans had refused to negotiate. They had told the Vrekari, no. On 1,000 different planets, billions of beings watched their screens in disbelief. Talk shows brought in experts to explain what the humans were thinking. Most of them had no answers. This had never happened before in galactic history. On Nexus Station, the largest trading hub in the sector, a crowd had gathered in the main observation lounge. Merchants, travelers, and diplomats from dozens of species stood together, watching the news feeds that covered every wall. They have lost their minds, said a Morvathi trader. His name was Broker Velish, and he had done business with humans for 20 years. I know humans. They are clever. They are good at making deals. This makes no sense. Perhaps it is a bluff, suggested a Thessian diplomat standing nearby. Her blue skin shimmered under the station lights. They are waiting for the Vrekari to lower their demands. The Vrekari do not lower demands, Velish replied. They only raise them. Everyone knows this. In the corner of the lounge, away from the crowd, stood Commander Kim Yuna of the United Earth spaceship Indomitable. She wore the gray uniform of the Human Defense Force, and her black hair was pulled back in a tight bun. She watched the news in silence, her face showing nothing. A young Caliph approached her. The Caliph were a curious species, always asking questions. This one had bright orange fur and large eyes that blinked rapidly. Excuse me, human, the Caliph said. I am a student of galactic politics. May I ask you a question? Yuna nodded slightly. Go ahead. Why is your species doing this? The math is simple. Pay the ransom, get your people back. Refusing means they die. How can any leader make that choice? Yuna was quiet for a moment. Then she turned to face the young alien fully. "Let me tell you a story," she said. "Long ago, on Earth, there was a nation that had a problem with kidnappings. Criminal groups would take people and demand money for their return. The families always paid. They loved their people and wanted them back safely." "That seems reasonable," the Caliph said. "It seemed reasonable, yes. But here is what happened. Every time a ransom was paid, the criminals learned that kidnapping was profitable. So they did it more and more. Soon, thousands of people were being taken every year. The payments did not save lives. They cost lives. More and more lives. As the practice grew, the Caliph's eyes widened. What did they do? They changed their approach. They refused to pay. They told the criminals that no ransom would ever be paid again. And then, they hunted the criminals down, one by one, and destroyed them. But surely some hostages died because of this? Yuna's expression grew sad. Yes, some did. It was a terrible cost. But within a few years, kidnapping became rare. The criminals learned that taking hostages brought them nothing but death. The practice nearly disappeared. The short-term pain led to long-term safety. She turned back to the window, looking out at the stars. That is why we do not negotiate. Not because we do not care about our people. We care more than you can imagine. But we will not buy their safety today by putting more people in danger tomorrow. The Caliph considered this. But this is not Earth. This is the galaxy. The Vrekari are not common criminals. They have warships. They have armies. A small smile crossed Yuna's face. At that moment, the station's sensors let out a warning tone. The news feeds flickered and changed to show a view of local space. Something was happening near the edge of the system. A point of light appeared in the darkness. Then another. Then 10 more. Then 100. Ships were dropping out of hyperspace. Human ships. Warships of every size, from small fighters to massive carriers. They kept coming, more and more, until the display could barely track them all. 212 vessels. Someone whispered. The entire human First Fleet. With Velish the Morvathi made a choking sound. That is not possible. No species moves a full battle fleet that quickly. It would take weeks to organize. Yuna's smile grew wider. We started organizing the moment we detected Vrekari ships entering the Kepler system. Before they even took the first hostage. You knew this would happen? We planned for it. We have been planning for it for 50 years. Ever since we joined the galactic community. We knew that someday, some species would think we were easy prey. We prepared for that day. The crowd in the lounge had fallen completely silent. Every eye was on the display, watching the human fleet form up into battle formations. The ships moved with perfect coordination, like a single organism with hundreds of parts. A new transmission appeared on the screens. It was Commander Thesok of the Vrekari. His face had changed since his earlier message. The confidence was still there. But now it was mixed with something else. Doubt. Humans, he said. This show of force will not save your colonists. If you attack, we will execute them all. Every single one. You cannot win. The response came from the human flagship. The face that appeared on screen belonged to an older man with white hair and hard eyes. The name under his image read, Admiral Cho Sung-hyun, Commander of the First Fleet. Commander Thesok. The Admiral said, I am going to explain something to you. Please listen carefully. Because I will only say this once. Thesok's scales rippled with irritation. Explain what? That you intend to sacrifice your own people? I already know this. And one. Undes. And when des. No. I am going to explain why you are going to lose. Admiral Cho's voice was calm. Almost friendly. You think you hold the power here because you have hostages. You think we will hesitate, negotiate, give you time. You are wrong about all of it. You cannot attack without killing your own people. Watch me. The transmission ended. In the observation lounge, the Caliph student turned to Commander Yuna with terror in his eyes. Is he serious? Will he really attack? Yuna nodded slowly. Admiral Cho does not make empty threats. In 4 hours, the assault will begin. And when it is over, the Vrikari will no longer exist as a military power. How can you be so certain? Yuna looked at the young alien with something like pity. Because you do not understand what humans are capable of when someone threatens our families. The Vrikari see themselves as predators. They think of us as prey. She shook her head. They have no idea what kind of predators we can become. On the screens, the human fleet continued to gather, a wall of steel and fire hanging in the darkness of space, and across the galaxy, billions of beings watched and waited to see what would happen next. No one had ever defied the Vrikari. No one had ever refused to pay. But the humans were not like anyone else, and the galaxy was about to find out exactly how different they were. Admiral Cho Sung-hyun stood on the bridge of the UESS Retribution, the largest warship ever built by human hands. Around him, dozens of officers worked at their stations, preparing for what was to come. The main screen showed the planet Kepler 442b, a blue and green world that looked almost like Earth. Somewhere down there, 12,000 humans were waiting to be rescued or killed. Status report, the admiral said. His first officer, Captain Han Sujin, stepped forward with a tablet in her hands. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a reputation for never making mistakes. All ships are in position, Admiral. Fighter squadrons are ready for launch. Marine assault teams are standing by in their dropships. We have completed mapping of all 12 detention facilities on the planet's surface. Enemy fleet? 62 Vrikari warships in high orbit. They have formed a defensive formation around the planet. Their weapons are powered, but not yet firing. 2. Any. 2. Admiral Cho nodded slowly. He had expected this. The Vrikari were waiting to see what the humans would do. They still believed they were in control. Open a channel to the enemy flagship. The screen flickered, and Commander Thesok appeared once again. The Vrikari leader looked tired. His scales had lost some of their shine, and his yellow eyes darted nervously. Admiral Cho, Thesok said, I hope you have come to discuss terms. Your government has had time to reconsider their foolish position. There are no terms to discuss, Commander. I am calling to give you one final chance to surrender. Thesok laughed, but it was a hollow sound. Surrender? I hold 12,000 of your people. I have 60 warships. You are the one who should surrender. Let me explain your situation, Admiral Cho said calmly. Our reconnaissance drones have been watching your facilities for the past 6 hours. We know exactly where every hostage is being held. We know the layout of every building. We know how many guards you have, where they are positioned, and what weapons they carry. So you know that any attack will result in your people dying. Good. Then you understand why you must pay. No. I know that your guards cannot kill hostages if they are already dead. Thesok's confidence flickered. What? In exactly 4 hours, we will begin our assault. Our Marines will secure all 12 facilities at the same time. Our fleet will engage your ships and destroy them. You will have no time to issue orders. Your guards will have no time to harm anyone. The operation will be over before you understand it has begun. That is impossible. No military can coordinate such a complex attack. You are bluffing. Admiral Cho leaned forward slightly. The Vrikari have never fought humans before, Commander. You have fought the Morvathi, who surrender quickly. You have fought the Thessians, who prefer to negotiate. You have fought species that value survival above all else. He paused. We are different. How are you different? We do not fight to survive. We fight to win. And we have been preparing for war, since before your species learned to make fire. Every human soldier trains for years. Every ship in my fleet has run this exact scenario hundreds of times in simulation. We know exactly what we are going to do. And we know exactly what the result will be. Thesok's tail twitched, a sign of deep anxiety among his kind. Even if you rescue the hostages, the political cost will destroy you. The Galactic Council will condemn your aggression. You will become outcasts. The Council can condemn us all they want. They will also learn something important today. They will learn that there is a cost to threatening human lives. That cost is measured in the destruction of those who threaten us. You would become monsters to save your people? Admiral Cho's expression did not change. We would become whatever we need to become. That is what the galaxy does not understand about us. We are not a peaceful species. We are a species that has chosen peace because it is better for everyone. But when peace is not an option, we remember the other thing we are good at. And what is that? War. The Admiral stood straight and looked directly at the camera. Commander Thesok, I am offering you mercy. It is the only time I will offer it. Release the hostages now. Withdraw your fleet from this system. Face trial for your crimes under galactic law. If you do this, you will live. And if I refuse, then in 4 hours, you and every soldier under your command will die. Your fleet will be destroyed. Your name will become a warning to everyone else in the galaxy who thinks about threatening humanity. The choice is yours. Thesok was silent for a long moment. The other officers on his bridge were looking at him with fear in their eyes. They had expected the humans to fold. They had expected negotiations and compromise. This was something else entirely. You are mad, Thesok finally said. You are all mad. No species behaves this way. No species risks everything on a single battle. We do, Admiral Cho replied simply. Because we know that if we show weakness once, we will have to show strength 100 times later. It is easier to pay the cost now than to pay it forever. He turned to his communications officer. End transmission. The screen went dark. Captain Han Sujin approached the Admiral quietly. Sir, do you think he will surrender? No. The Vrakari do not surrender. It is against their culture. Then thousands will die today. Yes, but they will be the right thousands. Admiral Cho looked out at the planet below. Every Vrakari soldier who dies today is a soldier who will never threaten another innocent life. Every ship we destroy is a ship that will never raid another colony. The mathematics are simple. We pay in blood today, so that our children do not have to pay tomorrow. And if we fail, the Admiral turned to face his first officer. For a moment, something like sadness crossed his face. Then we die with honor. And humanity sends a bigger fleet next time. He put his hand on her shoulder. We will not fail, Captain. We have trained too long and worked too hard. The Vrakari think they are predators. They do not understand that they walked into the territory of something far more dangerous. What is that, sir? A species that protects its own at any cost. He turned to address the entire bridge. All hands, prepare for battle. Operation Absolute Response begins in 4 hours. May God have mercy on our enemies, because we will not. The officers responded with sharp salutes and returned to their stations. Across the fleet, 212 ships came to full alert. Pilots climbed into fighters. Marines checked their weapons one final time. Engineers made last-minute adjustments to engines and shields. The clock was ticking. In 4 hours, the galaxy would learn what humans were truly capable of, and they would never forget the lesson. First Lieutenant Baek Jiwoo crouched in the darkness of a ventilation shaft, her powered armor making no sound as she moved. Behind her, 11 other Marines followed in perfect silence. They had been crawling through these tunnels for 30 minutes, guided by maps created from drone surveillance. Team 7. Status, she whispered into her helmet radio. In position, came the reply. Ready to breach on your command. All around the planet, Similar messages were being sent. 12 Marine teams had infiltrated 12 detention facilities. They had used different methods for each one. Some came through ventilation systems, others came up through sewers. A few had been dropped by stealth shuttles onto rooftops. All of them were now waiting for the signal. Jiwoo checked her weapon one more time. It was a neural disruptor, designed to knock enemies unconscious without making noise. For this mission, silence was everything. The hostages could not be harmed if the guards did not know an attack was happening. All teams, this is command. Admiral Cho's voice came through the radio. You have green light. Execute. Jiwoo kicked open the vent cover and dropped into the corridor below. Her armor absorbed the impact, and she landed without a sound. 2 Vrikari guards were standing at the end of the hallway. Their backs turned. They never saw her raise her weapon. They never heard the soft hum as it fired. They simply crumpled to the ground. Unconscious. 2 down, Jiwoo reported. Moving to main holding area. Corporal Lee Tae-young came up beside her, his own weapon ready. He was the youngest member of the team. Thermal shows 40 guards total, he said. Most are in the barracks on the east side. We take the 8 first, then the barracks. No alarms. They moved through the facility like ghosts. Every corner was cleared. Every guard was neutralized before they could react. The Vrikari had never faced an enemy like this. They were used to fighting species that announced their attacks, that gave warnings, that followed predictable patterns. The humans followed no patterns. They came from everywhere at once, and they showed no mercy. In the main holding area, 1,200 colonists sat in rows of cells. They looked tired and afraid. Some of the children were crying. An old man was trying to comfort a young mother whose baby would not stop screaming. Jiwoo's team burst through the doors and took down the remaining guards in seconds. Then, she removed her helmet so the prisoners could see her face. I am Lieutenant Baek Jiwoo of the Human Defense Force, she announced. We are here to take you home. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, the old man began to laugh. It was a sound of pure relief. And soon others joined him. People were crying and hugging each other. The young mother held her baby close and whispered thanks to anyone who would listen. We need to move quickly, Jiwoo said. Extraction shuttles are landing in 2 minutes. Everyone stay calm and follow my soldiers. As the civilians were led to safety, Jiwoo allowed herself a small moment of satisfaction. Facility 7 was secure. No civilian casualties. No alarms raised. She checked her radio. Similar reports were coming in from across the planet. Facility 1. Secure. Facility 2. Secure. Facility 5. Secure. One by one, the detention centers fell to human Marines, and 12,000 innocent people were freed. In orbit, the space battle was equally decisive. Admiral Cho watched from the bridge of the Retribution as his fleet tore through the Vrikari formation. The enemy ships were larger, but they were slow and poorly coordinated. They had never needed to be efficient. For decades, they had bullied weaker species who surrendered at the first sign of force. The humans did not surrender. Enemy destroyer on attack vector, Captain Han reported. They are targeting the transport ships. Intercept them. Nothing gets through to our evacuation craft. A squadron of human fighters swooped in front of the destroyer, their weapons blazing. The larger ship tried to turn, but it was too slow. Missiles struck its engines, and it began to drift, helplessly. Destroyer disabled, Admiral. Focus fire on their command ship. Take out Thesok. The Vrikari flagship was the biggest ship in their fleet, a massive vessel covered in weapons. But it was surrounded by human cruisers now, and its shields were failing under the constant bombardment. On the bridge of his dying ship, Commander Thesok watched his fleet being destroyed. Half his ships were already gone, either destroyed or disabled. The others were trying to flee, but the humans were faster. They hunted down every vessel that tried to escape. This is impossible, Thesok muttered. No species fights like this. No species takes these risks. His communications officer looked up with terror in his eyes. Commander, the humans are hailing us. Put it through. Admiral Cho's face appeared on the screen. Behind him, Thesok could see the human bridge crew working calmly, as if this were just another training exercise. Commander Thesok, the Admiral said, your fleet is destroyed. Your ground forces have been defeated. All hostages have been recovered without casualties. You have lost. Then kill me and be done with it. No. You will live. You will face trial on Earth for your crimes. And every species in this galaxy will watch as you are judged and punished. Thesok's scales flushed with shame. Among his people, being captured alive was the greatest dishonor. Death in battle was preferred. I would rather die, he said. I know. That is why we are taking you alive. Your death would make you a martyr. Your trial will make you an example. Admiral Cho's eyes were cold. Everyone will see what happens to those who threaten humanity. They will see you in chains. They will see you broken. And they will think very carefully before making the same mistake. The transmission ended. Minutes later, human Marines boarded the Vakari flagship and took Thesok into custody. He did not resist. There was no point. Everything he had built, everything he had believed in, had been destroyed in less than 2 hours. On the surface of Kepler 442b, the last shuttle lifted off carrying the final group of freed colonists. Lieutenant Baek Jiwoo stood at the boarding ramp, watching the Vakari detention facility grow smaller beneath her. All hostages recovered, she reported. 0 civilian casualties. Mission complete. Admiral Cho's voice came back over the radio. Outstanding work, Lieutenant. All teams, outstanding work. Begin, return to fleet. We are going home. As the shuttle rose through the atmosphere and into the darkness of space, Jiwoo looked out the window at the human fleet. 212 ships, still in perfect formation, their weapons still ready. They had won a total victory. Not because they were stronger than the Vakari, not because they had better technology, but because they had been willing to do whatever was necessary to protect their people. The galaxy had thought humans were soft. The galaxy had thought humans would break. The galaxy had been wrong, and now everyone knew it. 1 month had passed since the Battle of Kepler 442b. The galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. On 100 worlds, governments held emergency meetings. Intelligence agencies rewrote their assessments of human capabilities. Military commanders studied recordings of the battle, trying to learn how a species they had dismissed as weak traitors had destroyed the feared Vakari dominion in less than 2 hours. The Galactic Council chamber was fuller than it had ever been. Every species had sent their highest-ranking diplomats. Some had sent their actual rulers. They all wanted to hear what the humans would say. Ambassador Park Min-ho walked to the central podium with the same calm expression he always wore. But something was different now. Before, the other species had looked at him with mild interest or occasional annoyance. Now they looked at him with something new in their eyes. Fear. The Council recognizes Ambassador Park of the human delegation, the Trilaxian moderator announced. Her crystal body glowed with nervous purple light. Minho nodded and activated the holographic display behind him. Images of the rescue operation appeared, showing Marines storming the detention facilities and ships burning in the darkness of space. I have been asked to explain humanity's actions at Kepler 442b, he began. Very well. I will explain. He paused, looking around the chamber. For 300 years, galactic civilization has followed certain unwritten rules. When someone takes hostages, you negotiate. When someone demands ransom, you pay. When someone threatens your people, you make deals to protect them. He shook his head slowly. We rejected those rules. A murmur spread through the chamber. We rejected them because they do not work. Every ransom paid teaches predators that taking hostages is profitable. Every negotiation rewards violence with attention and respect. Every compromise tells the galaxy that threatening innocent lives is an acceptable way to get what you want. He changed the display to show Vrekari records of past kidnappings. The Vrekari had done this 47 times before. 47 species had paid them. 47 times, they learned that crime pays. And so they kept doing it. Again and again. Because no one ever told them no. We told them no. The chamber was completely silent. We did not do this because we do not value our people. We value them more than anything in the universe. Every single colonist on Kepler 442b was precious to us. Their safety was our highest priority. Then why refuse to negotiate? Called out the Morvathi ambassador. Why risk their lives? Minho turned to face him directly. Because negotiation would not have saved them. It would only have delayed their suffering. The Vrekari would have taken what we offered, released some hostages, and then done it again next year. And the year after that. And the year after that. Forever. He stepped forward, his voice growing stronger. We chose a different path. We said no to negotiation and yes to action. We built a military capable of rescuing our people by force. We trained our soldiers to fight in situations that other species consider impossible. We prepared for the day when someone would test us. When that day came, we did not hesitate. We did not debate. We simply acted. And now, 12,000 of our people are home safe. And the Vrekari Dominion is destroyed. He let that sink in for a moment. Some of you think we were cruel. Some of you think we were reckless. You are wrong. We were calculated. We knew exactly what we were doing and exactly what the result would be. We accepted the risk because we understood something that perhaps you do not. The only way to stop predators is to make hunting them more dangerous than hunting anyone else. Admiral Cho appeared on the screen, standing beside the captured Commander Thesok. The Vrekari leader looked broken, his scales dull, and his eyes empty. This is what happens when you threaten humanity, Minho said. Not negotiation. Not compromise. Complete and total destruction of everyone involved. We do not take half measures. We do not give second chances. We respond with overwhelming force. And we do not stop until the threat is eliminated. Forever. He turned back to face the council. Let me be very clear about what this means for the future. Humanity welcomes trade with any species. We welcome alliances, friendships, and cooperation. We will negotiate in good faith on any matter that does not involve innocent lives. But if you threaten our people, everything changes. If you take our citizens hostage, we will come for them. If you harm them, we will destroy you. Not partially, not proportionally, completely. We will hunt down everyone involved and make sure they never threaten anyone again. The Thessian diplomat raised her hand. Ambassador, surely there must be limits. Surely some situations require flexibility. No, Minho said simply. There are no limits. There is no flexibility. This is not a policy that can be adjusted based on circumstances. It is a promise we make to our own people and to the galaxy. He looked around the chamber one final time. Every species here needs to understand this. Taking human hostages is not a negotiating tactic. It is a death sentence. For you, for your followers, for anyone who helps you. We will not stop until every last person responsible is dead or in prison. This is humanity's warning to the galaxy. We suggest you take it seriously. The chamber remained silent as Minho gathered his things and stepped down from the podium. No one moved. No one spoke. The weight of his words hung in the air like a physical presence. 1 year later, Captain Kim Yuna stood on the observation deck of the UESS Guardian, watching a convoy of refugee ships pass through a sector that had once been controlled by pirates. The pirates were gone now. They had disbanded after seeing what happened to the Vrekari. No one wanted to attract human attention. Lieutenant Commander Shin Unji joined her at the window. The latest reports came in, Unji said. Kidnappings across the galaxy are down by 94%. 3 species that used to do regular raiding have stopped completely. The Morvathi are actually paying reparations to their former victims. Yuna nodded. Fear is a powerful motivator. Do you think they understand why we did it? Or do they just see us as monsters? 4. Yuna considered the question carefully. Some understand. Some think we are cruel. Most are simply afraid of us now. She shrugged. It does not matter what they think. What matters is that our people are safe. What matters is that no one will try this again. And if someone does, a small smile crossed Yuna's face. Then we will do exactly what we promised. We will destroy them completely, and the next species will learn the same lesson, until eventually, no one is foolish enough to test us. Below them, the refugee convoy completed its journey safely. Ships from a dozen different species, all traveling under human protection. All safe because the galaxy had learned a simple truth. Humans do not bargain with killers. Humans do not pay ransoms. Humans protect their own. And anyone who threatens them will discover exactly what that means. Yuna activated her communicator. All ships. This is Guardian Actual. Transit complete. Safe travels to all vessels. She paused, looking out at the infinite stars. Humanity keeps watch. The convoy sent back grateful messages in 100 different languages. Somewhere out there, families were heading toward new lives. Safe because one species had been willing to draw a line and defend it with everything they had. The galaxy would never forget what happened at Kepler 442b. And that was exactly the point.